is on basically gardening with vermin. So javelina, deer, rabbits, gophers, pack rats, and there's other things. There's porcupines, there's all kinds of stuff out there that you haven't even seen yet. Skunks, yep, I must have been dreaming about this class because I had a dream that a skunk came in the back door through the dog door. And I was trying to get him out of the house without spraying the house. Now, is that a terrible dream? Only a gardener would have that kind of dream. I don't know what that is. But I was thinking about the class, just getting ready. It is possible to garden in the forest. Now, you said you had 21 deer. We have a herd of 15 javelina that roam the back of the property. The fence line around the nursery, it's not to keep people out. Anyone can jump a 6-foot fence. It's so easy. Put your pickup truck over and just jump right over. It's to keep the animals out, because the deer, we're right here, this interface, so this is all forest right back here, undeveloped, and so there's just like free reign. And so if we keep anything outside the fence, it gets eaten. So, and the worst thing you can do is sell a nice aspen. You're about to deliver it tomorrow. You put it outside the fence, get ready to load, and it's been eaten. So customers don't like that. I got to make those phone calls a couple times a year. So it's just, okay guys, don't do that. So there's certain things I really like to go after. Today's class is mainly going to be across the street. We've put display gardens up to test and see what is and what is not deer and javelina mainly. We do have some rabbits over there. They're not as thick as the deer and the javelina. Pack rats, porcupines, we got all that stuff over there. So porcupines will come in at night, they'll come in, they'll sit down at the trunk of your pear tree, your apple, your ash. They'll just sit there and eat the bark off at about this far off the ground. Here to about 3 foot up, they'll just slowly peel the bark off. And if you don't get on it, they'll actually strip it to where it's girdled and the tree will die next summer. So it'll flush out, it'll bloom, you'll start to set leaves, and then the first warm day in May or June, it'll collapse just like that because it ran out of juice. So people don't, I go, there's only one thing that causes that, porcupines. And I go, well, you've got porcupines. I go, no, I don't. I've never seen one. I go, again, I got to explain this. They're nocturnal. They come in at night. You'll never see them. They're slow moving. They're dark, and they're about this big. They're huge. And they just sit there and they slowly eat your trees. So it's easy to recover. We can help you recover that if that happens. But the other one that we'll touch on are skunks. They'll come in, and they're real busy right now, and they'll leave little cone-shaped, about that deep, little cone-shaped holes in the ground. And so their main diet are worms and grubs. Grubs are their favorite. So if you've got grubs in your yard, they'll come in and they'll smell it. Their nose is set up to actually know and hear. They can spot them. They'll just go, there he is, jump. Okay. Oh, there's another one. You just see these little cone-shaped holes in your yard. Very distinctive. Only one thing does that, is skunks. If you kill the grubs off, you won't have skunks. They'll go to your neighbor's yard where they have grubs, and they'll eat their yard. So that's one thing to watch. We were having very heavy javelina activity across the street when we first put the gardens in. Now partly that is, they're curious. They're going, hey, we've been watching them all day plant. I wonder what they've been doing as they come over just curiosity factor. Deer will do the same thing. You'll plant a new tree and they'll eat a juniper or a cypress or deodar cedar, and they don't like those. But they'll eat a few branches off before they realize, oh yeah, that's right, I don't like this. So the way their taste buds, their stomach works, they eat stuff before they realize they don't like it, and then they move on. But they've eaten off, they've done some damage where your tree all of a sudden looks lopsided. It recovers, but deer are that way. The javelina were over there digging, they just pull things out going, I wonder what this is. Hey Fred, try this. They throw them up in the air, they whee! They come back down, they haven't eaten them, they're just out of the ground laying there. Some things they've actually nibbled on, but until those things get rooted, we need to encourage them to become rooted quickly so that when they come through and try that, they stay in the ground. So when we were first putting them in, they were pulling them out, certain things. And then some things we found they really like. So we went, okay, we thought it was javelina resistant, and it is not. So let's move on to the next thing. Let's try something else. So they were going after the sedums, mainly a certain type. The autumn joy sedums, they love. the dark burgundy colors? They don't. I don't know why. They just decided this one tastes good, this one doesn't. And so we're learning as we go. That's part of what gardening is, isn't it? We learn gardening by making mistakes. And then we correct and go, okay, well that didn't work, go this way. So if you're not quite sure if it's working in your yard, I encourage you to try one test victim, see if it works. If it stands tall in the midst of all the chaos, you got a winner. Come in all in. So if you've got a lot of activities, 21 deer, big herd of javelina, there you're really limited on what you can grow. So you've got to really commit to the designs, because you're only allowed to grow 20 things out of hundreds of things I have at the garden center. You've only got 20. You've got to make a better design, and you've got to commit to it's more important to have that design laid out. Whereas those of us that don't have as much pressure, we can just kind of slop it around, and by the time we get done, it just looks good because it's full enough. It looks okay. So that's something to kind of watch. Now you'll hear all kinds of rumors as, ivory soap will keep deer away. The quantity of ivory soap you've got to have in the yard is so pronounced. You need cases and cases. You're not having a bar set up in an apple tree to keep them off. You have to have 10 bars. And really, it's not the ivory soap that keeps them out. It's they bump their antlers and their heads through all the bars of soap as they go through. And they're irritated by the physical contact, not so much the smell. There is some of that. It will keep them off of this little area. But it's more than people say. Human hair, same way. It doesn't really keep them off, at least for very long. Another one that does work, blood meal, actually does work. It's a great organic fertilizer. So it's a nitrogen base, very slow release, very good fertilizer. It actually is made from blood, chickens. It's dried, and you put it out there in the yard, and it breaks down. The negative is you need to reapply and reapply. You need to keep reapplying because it loses its fragrance and goes into the ground. The plants use it. And so it's not a one-time and you're done. It's not one and you're done kind of thing. You need to sprinkle that out there. And the mindset there is the animals go, they smell the blood, and they go, whoa, something just died here. There's a mountain lion, there's something here, something, bobcat, something's gonna, dogs, they're gonna come get me. And so they're fearful of the blood smell, puts their guard up, and they go, I don't think it's worth going over there tonight. We'll try it tomorrow. We'll go over to the neighbor's house and eat their stuff tonight because it's just too scary right here. So you're getting the fear of God in them, is how it kind of works. Really, with some of the defensive mechanisms, the repellents, they are effective for a while, but you got to keep on it. Also, you've got to train. Deer are just like dogs. Javelina, just like dogs. Probably as smart. So they get familiar with it real quick. So you need to train them, don't come here, because when you do, it always tastes bad. Go over there. Until they learn to not come here and go over there, they'll just naturally, they're going to come at you. Now, if you're in the wildland areas, you're buttoned up against the forest, and you're on a main path, like for millennia, javelina have been traveling this trail forever. For generations. They don't even know they aren't even thinking. They're just going through, well, it's what they do. They go from point A to point B in this trail. If you've got that, there's no hope. There's nothing I can do to help you except a physical barrier. You need to actually put up a fence or something to derail them, to have them go around that area. So that's where the 21 deer, you're in the middle of the herd. They've decided, this is my home. Oh. And look, she planted something just for us to eat tonight. There's that kind of, you get some of that. So there, you have to actually come up with a physical barrier. Electric fence, highly, highly effective. You set it about a foot off the ground. They make special insulators that go onto rebar. You just screw the insulators on the plastic pieces, those yellow bubble things. You run the wire through that, and you get the very least expensive transformer or volt. It brings it down from 120 down to like 10 volts. And so just enough to zip them, but not electrocute them. Now, I've often wanted to translate that, convert it back up to 120 volts. I'm afraid my wife might get it, or even worse, her dogs might get it. So that's like the ultimate. So I've always gotten the plug-in types. Everyone thinks solar is better, but it's like 10 times more expensive. It does work, but it's just so much more expensive. I come off of the house, I put it on a timer, so it only comes on from like 10 o'clock at night till about 6 o'clock in the morning. That way my wife can go out, sip her coffee, touch her flowers, and bring her dogs, and it's all harmony. If they touch the wire, it's not going to zip them, because if there's yelping, I'm going to get bit afterwards. So I have it on a timer, and it's highly, highly effective. For the javelina, I didn't string it, I didn't enclose the yard, I just ran a wire through the gardens that they were really going after. And then I electrified that, and I did take a piece of tin foil, and I folded it, made a little tent that would hang over top of the wire, and then I baited it with peanut butter. Irresistible. The boar had to go first. He's out of the way. I'm coming through. I want this. And he hit that wire that first night, and it must have been absolute chaos. The entire herd must have freaked out, because there was wire, there was stuff everywhere. Nothing was back in place. Everything was off of its insulator. They ran through it and just went crazy. They must have been getting zipped like crazy. And then after that, they never hit it again. And not only that, but it created a halo effect. My neighbors didn't even have javelina coming in their yards. So they would come through the kind of a green belt, so a pretty garden area. I live on a gardener street. And so they would come through there. Now they go across the street over, they don't even come in. Except I think I had a lone boar, kind of a loner. There's sometimes the boars that don't have their harem, they'll kind of roam around singly, and they just kind of rummage through stuff. And the gardener, I get kind of cocky. They haven't been there for a year. Then I start going, well, I love kale. It's so pretty, loves the snow. I plant some of those, which is like candy to javelina. They love kale, and so they came in and ate the kale. And while they're there, they nipped off all the flowers of the pansies too. So they just they graze. They left some things alone. We'll show you what they left alone and what they kind of went after. So those are some things I can tell you. The repellents that really, really work, repels all. Highly, highly effective for rabbits. You spray the foliage. It's an organic product, so you don't have to worry about your dogs or the birds. It's all natural. It's made of rotten eggs, garlic, and some nasty herb stuff. It does smell kind of bad. Don't spray it right by your front door when you're having guests over. Spray it by the front door when you're not going to use it for a couple days. But it coats the foliage where it tastes bad and it smells bad, so it's got a double deterrent to it. We've come up with this one. This is also good for deer. Also works on birds, say woodpeckers. They peck those little holes. On certain trees, they'll kind of start pecking holes. It's a sapsucker. Highly effective on that. You'll spray that area, they'll get on their feet, and they kind of go, God, now my wife doesn't want me home anymore. I smell bad. Oh, that's awful. Sometimes they'll move to a different tree, or they'll move to a different part of the tree. She's kind of chasing them away. Scarecrows work really well for the birds too. An owl, snake in the tree. Birds are so skittish that any kind of spooky, scary things, eyeballs in the trees, they fly off. So this is one that doesn't smell bad. We brought this one in as a competitor to Repels All. This one's highly, highly effective. We've had lots of years of experience with it, but it smells bad. We kept hearing it smells bad. This one is made from pretty smelling herbs. So it's got a minty or oregano. They're using different kind of herbs in it, not a rotten egg, nasty taste. This one, if you touch your mouth after you've been spraying it, you'll be spitting all day long to get that taste out of your mouth. This one isn't as bad. And then this one we've had some limited effect with javelina with the granular form of Repels All. They take the same liquid and they put it into, basically encapsulate it with vermiculite, so that smell gets on the ground. You put it on the ground and sprinkle it, and they get on their feet. Let's say a rabbit comes in, they get on their feet, they start to preen themselves, and it just makes them, they just coat their body with this stuff. They go, every time I go over to her garden, I come back and my wife won't let me in the house. It's awful, I hate this stuff. Ooh, I can't touch myself. And so it's good with that. What I found is, with the new growth, in spring when the new growth starts coming out, it's tender, it's sweet, and it becomes irresistible for animals. This one's highly effective. Actually, the liquids, either one, highly effective for in spring. In the winter basically, and late summer through winter, this one's more effective. So just personal experience. Let's see if I can go through the stuff, and we'll hit gophers. Snakes, we're kind of getting done with snakes. They've been migrating for about 3-4 weeks now. So, you know, rattlesnakes, they all nest in the same hole, the same place. They all rest together. So if you come into a den of rattlesnakes, literally they can be hundreds of rattlesnakes in this one hole, run underneath the rock someplace. Hopefully you'll never see them, but that's what happens. And then they'll come out in spring and they travel for miles, 2-3 miles. A rattlesnake will move to their hunting ground. They can't all, there's not enough mice to keep them all happy right here. So you'll see them in this pattern. Usually in April, you'll see more rattlesnakes. More snakes in general. This isn't just rattlesnakes, that's the fearful one, but you'll see all kinds of snakes. In the spring, you'll see more of them. Then in the summer, you might stumble across one as you're hiking around, but it's not as often. And then in the fall, you'll see them more often. Snake stopper, they've actually put some herbs into, again, vermiculite, and you sprinkle this on the ground, and there's certain herbs that they just don't like. They just won't cross. Their tongues will come out, they'll pick up this, and they'll literally will derail and go around that part of the garden. The way I use this, now I'm not afraid of snakes, I kind of like snakes. I know that's sick, but you lady, I pick up snakes, I talk to them. I take them home when I find them here. It's not a rattlesnake. I take gardener snakes home, and I release them, and it keeps the grasshoppers, keeps the other little rodents, keeps them at bay. So they're really good guys. Snakes are really good guys if they're not bothering you, if they're in your way. But there's some areas I don't want them. So my vegetable garden underneath the pumpkins, I mean, that's a scary place. It's nothing but cover. You never know where you're stepping to go get the zucchinis and so there I sprinkle this stuff around that area just so I don't have snakes. I have to worry about it then. It's relief mentally for me. If you're truly fearful of snakes, put it around the outer edge of your border. It's actually a barrier. It's like a line in the sand where they won't cross. They might come through the driveway or through another place, but they aren't going to mess with this. So it's a good way to keep snakes out. What else? Oh, let's cover something that's not related to today, but it is going to become an issue if it's not already an issue. Fungus gnats show up this time of year. I mean, little tiny flying ants, like gnats, little black gnats, come in the house, and you're looking at the iPad, you're attracted to the light, they're bugging you, you're in the computer screen, or watching TV, or you're in front of the light. They're attracted to light, it seems like a lot. They become an issue this time of year. If you see that, they want to winter over where it's warm. That's why they're coming in, and they like houseplants. So if you don't have any houseplants in your house, which is probably not this group, this is a garden class, probably got at least a couple houseplants. They're attracted to those. It's moist, and they eat the roots on the houseplants. So that's how they survive. And they're very social. They like to gather together in one dracaena or one pothos or one whatever it is that you have in your house. They'll be all in the soil. And so the larva stage is a maggot, a little white worm. That's basically how they live their life. They come out only just for a few days to mate, to make whoopee basically. That's the only reason. They come out, they kind of go, oh, hey, how you doing? And then they kind of lay their eggs and die. And then the life cycle is they live in the soil. You need to kill the larvae. If you can kill them, no worries. There's a couple products. This one, granular systemic granules. This one you sprinkle on top of the surface, and then it goes in the soil, kills off the bugs. Highly, highly effective. The negatives, this is not safe. It's a chemical, and it stinks to high heaven. But it lasts, so it's systemic, so the plant actually takes it out. If you've got cats, probably not ideal, especially the curious ones that kind of dig around or lay in the soil. There's some cats are more mischievous than others. If you've got young puppies, probably not ideal. They'll come in and puppies just do whatever they feel like at the moment. There's no brains to a puppy, just energy and teeth. If you do have that kind of thing, we have it's called pot poppers. These are nematodes. It's a living organism. You're putting another living organism that comes in, and nematodes, there's little packets in here that you put on the surface of your houseplant, water it in, it releases the nematodes, and they float through the soil and they actually burrow through the body of the larva of the fungus gnats. It's a beneficial insect, what it is. Very, very safe, very organic. You'll never see them. They're microscopic, but they float through the soil. And as long as you have food for them, as long as there's fungus gnats, they stay active. And as soon as they don't have enough food, they die off and they're gone. So good in the vegetable gardens. We've got a bigger size for outside. This one's made really for house plants, little sizes. Plus it's fun and cute. Should we touch on gophers? Because I know it's going to come up, and then we'll go across the street. We'll show you the actual plants you can use in the gardens if you've got high activity. Gophers, I was out this morning helping my neighbor kill her gophers. They're taking over her yard. They're going to wipe out all of her yuccas. They're going to kill her oak trees. And she's a real active gardener, but she's had some health issues where she just can't get out there like she used to. So I'm kind of neighborly helping her out. Plus, her gophers are not coming into my yard. So it's kind of a double, it's a benefit, it's a win-win for all of us. So I can help her take it out. Now I have killed off gophers off of acreage, like 10-acre plots. No more gophers. Where it was a war zone. If you let them go, they'll be mounded so bad, you can't walk across a yard without sinking in the ground. There's so many tunnels. One thing I can tell you is it's not a one-time and you're done with gophers. It's war. You're declaring war, and I'm going to come after you every day until every one of you, your family, your family's family are all dead, until this demarcation line, over there live, over here, nothing but chaos and death for you and all your kin. You got to have that kind of mindset, really. So the Marines in the room, you're going to love this. The folks that are maybe a little more sensitive, my wife has me go out and kill all the gophers. So that's kind of, I like doing that. There's only 3 ways to get rid of gophers. It's going to be traps, it's going to be bait, or it's going to be gas. Now gas, the little flares, I don't know if she brought that up for me or not. They make a little flare. I don't have them here. Good, because you don't want to use those. They aren't very effective. Unless it's a brand new gopher just in the yard and the run is only fairly limited. If it's a big run or a lot of population, the gases just don't work. I think partly because their network is so large, you can't fill up the tunnel and asphyxiate them enough. And then secondly, if you've got a room in the house that smells bad, what do? You just close the door. I think they just block up the tunnels and go, I don't like all this smoke, and they just kind of move over to here, move out of the way. So I haven't had a great luck, a little bit, but not great luck with, so generally I'm not going to steer you that direction, unless it's a brand new thing, or you just have it in your head, I have to try this. I'll go, here, I got them. So I'll sell you them all day long. Traps are highly, highly effective. It's what your grandparents used. I've had up to 12 traps going at any given time, and I used to set them twice a day. I would catch about 12 to 15 gophers a day. I did this for about a month. I'm catching 10 to 15 gophers a day for a month. Think about the work. I got worn out, and I finally moved. I'm a gopher master. I know how to kill gopher very, very well. I mean, I've dug up the tunnels. I've studied them. I know how many nests per run. I know how large the runs are for the average gopher. It's a sickness that I'm trying to recover from. And the doctor won't issue medication for this. And so I'm just having to do it on my own. I'm going through withdrawals. But really, it comes down to the traps are work. You generally need 2 traps. You try to get in the main run where that mound is. That's actually an exit tunnel. They only take that tunnel, the main run is underneath that, and they come up and just shove dirt out. And that's where you'll see the mound of dirt. They call it a pocket gopher because there's a pocket underneath their necks. They carry the dirt. They don't actually put it in their mouth. You got a little pocket where they take it out and shove it out the hole. Sometimes you'll get thwarted. You actually get discouraged because they'll take the trap and they'll throw it out the hole. They're throwing dirt out, and they don't even see the trap. They're just throwing dirt, getting it out, and all of a sudden you see your trap in amongst all the dirt. The reason is it wasn't the main run. It It was just an exit tunnel. They were busy exiting some more dirt to make room for their main run, which is a little bit deeper. Ideally, you get down the main run and you put a trap going this way and a trap going this way. Because if you come into the trap backwards, it won't go off. You can only go into that trap, a gopher trap, one way, and then it zips them and kind of pierces them right in the heart, basically. So you want to have one trap this way, one trap this way. So we have traps here. We always sell them in pairs, because we know that's how you want to do it. The other thing I can tell you is, if you're doing traps, make sure that you secure it some way, because they don't often die right away. They'll die a little bit later. Well, I've lost a couple traps over the years because they actually dragged it back into the run where I couldn't get to it. I don't know where it went. So anymore, I take a 2x6. I like the 2x6 over a 2x4 because the 2x6 is a bigger platform, so I can set them better. Some of these things are pretty strong. The spring is really hard to set. So if I have a set board in the field, I can set it easier, just for me. Secondly, the barn cats, farm dogs, mountain lions, coyotes, they love gophers, especially when they're just sitting there like an hors d'oeuvres waiting for them. So frequently they'll come in and take it, and they don't eat it right there. They always take the trap and the gopher, and they're over there in the field. I've found them up in the barn before, the upper level, not down below the second story. So it helps me to spot where my trap went. So a bigger board helps you find out where it went. And it gives a little more weight that the gopher can't take off. And then usually I'll use wire. Don't use twine or something that can be nibbled into, because sometimes they'll nibble through that, especially with pack rats. I do the same exact thing with pack rats. I'll put the trap and I'll tie it with a piece of wire to a board, usually a piece of rebar, something a little less obscure. Anyway, that's just kind of what I do. And sometimes I'll spray paint the board so I can spot it easier, especially if you've got large acreage, say 2 acres or above. That's a lot of property to kind of spot. So you want to be able to look out and find your trap if it happens to disappear. And it just may. I mean, coyotes love, they'll hear them screaming for help. They'll go, I'll help you out. Come and get your trap, and they haul it off someplace. And so this is school of hard knocks. You won't find this anywhere on Google. You're not going to find this on any textbook. This is just kind of, my name's Ken, I'm your friend. We're just neighbors talking over the fence, and this has kind of worked for me. It's just some things I've kind of figured out. I finally moved to, and I brought my trap. No, actually I brought my trap. That's the new one. Did I bring mine? Here it is. This is what I was helping my neighbor with. This has got a lot of use. You can see the paint is worn right off the end of this. What this is a gopher probe. After my 12 traps, I moved to this. This is bait. So the baits work highly effective. They're attracted to the bait, they nibble it, they get sick to their stomach, they go to bed, and they never come back. You never see a dead body you have to deal with. It's just easier. And you can cover a lot of territory fast. What I will do is, that area, let's say I want to get around my back gardens, I want to get rid of gophers. I'll go through the day before, I'll knock down all the hills so I can find out where the new hills are, where the activity is. So if you just made an old hill, you did a lot of work for nothing. They work certain parts of their tunnel network at any given time, but not all of it all at once. So you want them to stumble across this the next morning. So you're generous, you're gardeners. You just want to give them as much bait as they can take in. You want to take it home, feed it to the wife, feed it to the kids, let everyone have some. And so you want to see where the activity is so they can do that. I'll go through and then I'll bait around that hill. There'll be a tunnel. So you want to get the bait underneath that mound and in directly into the tunnel. So you'll probe right around the edges, and all of a sudden you'll feel the tip of this, you'll feel it slip all of a sudden. It'll be distinctive. Especially if it's a big male or a bigger gopher, older gopher, you'll feel it definitely slip. You almost fall forward sometimes. It's pronounced. You'll feel it. And so then you kind of give this a couple swigs, and you'll see at the bottom of this, it's got an opening that allows you to release the bait right into the run. That's why it's so effective. And then when I'm all done, I'll kick that mound down so I know if I got him or not. If there's more activity there the next morning, I know, oh, I may have gotten them, but there's a whole family under there. You never have one, you have dozens off of one 50-foot, maybe a 70 feet. It was quite a ways from my house to the barn. You know, it's a driveway's length, maybe 2 driveways length. There's a barbed wire fence underneath that, and they love to get underneath the fence because it would protect them from the hawks and the herons and the predators. So they have little families, colonies there. I caught over 50 gophers by trap up and down this fence line. It was crazy. I could not believe how many gophers were coming out of one spot. So it's like the perfect environment, but still, that's not right. That makes gardening hard. So then I started going after them with this, and I find this is my preferred way to do it now. Yeah, I've gotten them off of about 10 acres, but you gotta be, it's a war zone. It's every morning going out and looking for new mounds, bait it, trap it, gas it, do something, kick it down so I can see where the new activity is again the next morning. If you do that consistently over a couple of weeks, all of a sudden you'll find you don't have any problems anymore. Yeah, that's just kind of my take on it. One last thought on that. There's 2 types of baits. One I like, one I don't like. Don't use strychnine. Look for that in the label. The fine print at the very, very bottom says go for bait. Look for strychnine. You don't want to use that, especially if you have dogs or you're into birds or any kind of secondary kill. Strychnine keeps killing down the food chain. So if a coyote comes and finds a dead body and eats that thing, it'll keep killing them. You want to use zinc-based. You actually see zinc in the bottom in the label, zinc phosphates, zinc. You just want to look for the name zinc. Zinc does not keep killing. So the gopher will eat it, turns to gas, loads him up, gets sick, dies. And then if something comes and eats that gopher, there's no secondary kill. Okay. So you got to be careful with bait. You don't want to leave it out on a platter for your dogs to eat, because it will take out whatever eats it directly, but then after that, there's no secondary kill. So we only sell zinc-based gopher bait here at the nursery, just because we believe so strongly in that. This is not organic solution. This is a hardcore, this is a poison. So, but it is highly effective. For big properties, I would go with this. If you're under, let's say, 1/4 acre or 1/2 acre, you could probably get away with traps and some other ways. Or you could manually dig out that mound and find the hole, clean it out, and then manually take a teaspoon, get as far back there as you can. But if there's big property at all, get the Gopher Pro. These are like 40 or 50 bucks, but well worth the investment. It also makes your bait to go farther. This is my own personal bait thing. We've got them, oh here I can tell you how much they are. They're $49.99. So, but you fill the hopper up and the bait goes down here and then you swing it, then you'll see that opening come up, okay? Other than that, I think we got it. The repellents, and folks in the Verde seem to love this. This is called Mole Max. Again, they're taking herbs, castor oil. You sprinkle this on the ground and it taints the soil where the gophers and the moles, they don't like it. So they go, man, this soil's awful. So they move on. I was using this as a barrier around between my neighbor and I. What happened is she let her gophers get so bad that they just overrun the whole neighborhood. And they kept coming through this, and I didn't administer this enough. This is good for about 6-9 months, and then it just dissipates. So you need to reapply. Well, I was so busy I didn't reapply. So then they started coming in. So now I'm just going to take care of her issue and my issue, and I don't have to do this anymore. But the folks that have water tables or up against the river there, they seem to come in, they buy cases of this at a shot because it's so effective. What it doesn't kill them, it simply taints the soil so it moves them out of this area. So they go over there to your neighbors. The goal is get the vermin over to your neighbors, not to your house. Okay? We do sell these gopher cages. If it's really bad, you don't want to do any of that. We have these cages, these open up to be basically big canisters. But you plant this in the ground and plant your plant in this, and gophers cannot go through this. And it's a heavier gauge chicken wire, so they can't nibble through it either. So it's just called a root guard. Okay, any questions on that? We got it covered? I mean, I want to get to the exciting part. Get rid of the hard part and get to the inspiration piece and let you know you can garden. There are some things you can use in your own gardens and be effective and be pretty. Actually have a design. Okay. Yeah?
What was the name of the little ball thing?
Oh, the little ball thing for fungus gnats, this is called pot poppers. They're in the garden center. But we've had very, very good luck with nematodes. But for years, we were selling nematodes, the big commercial size, like outdoor industrial, big, doing the entire backyard. It's like 40 bucks for this big case. It was just way too much for a few houseplants. And then they got it where I can actually have it on the shelf. So this is a better way to go for houseplant. Not enough for a garden setting. So let us help you if you need. Tell us how many square footage, what you got going. We can help you do that. I just planted a new vine garden, you'll see. And when I was planting that, I did run across several large grubs about this big, that big around. They were monstrous. I thought they're going to jump after my jugular vein or something. They were huge. They're like landed from Mars. They're ginormous. So that's next year's hatch. They'll pupate into a beetle, basically. Grubs are a beetle. A beetle's larva stage is in the ground. They live up to 2 to 5 years in the ground, you know what the beetle is. And they hatch, they come out, fly around in summer. They bug you at night, you know, they come and get you as they're laying eggs, and then they die. And so that's kind of the life cycle of a grub or a beetle, basically. Okay. Let me make sure I got everything. A couple things here that are plant-wise that we can cover for you. I've had great luck with javelina, deer, and animals with heuchera. This is a perennial flower. That is, it comes back every year. Actually, this is one of the few evergreen perennials. It'll actually hold its foliage, even through harsher winters. I've got a couple sub-zero winters that got a little beat up, kind of went underneath the ground just to protect itself. But most winters here in Prescott, let's say 6,000 foot and below, these just keep their foliage. In the spring, you'll go in and clean them up a little bit, fertilize them. The other name for heuchera is coral bells. They will actually put a little flower that hovers above it's an insignificant flower. Really what you're planting these for is for the foliage. You come in burgundies and greens and just all kinds of copper colors. They're fun. They don't seem to eat any of them. So, did they? Sometimes they'll eat the copper colors. So if you got heavy, go with the more purpley red ones and less of the greeny. That's kind of school of hard knocks. It depends on the taste that you go after. In fact, Ken, I should do this. I'll send you, what did you give them? The javelina resistive, deer and rabbit? I actually wrote a garden column last year on this topic. I'll email that to you next week sometime. That kind of goes over a little more detail, and we can maybe email them the copy of the video if you
right.
accessorize. So give me your email, and it'll be just for you all. If you get our newsletter already, you won't get this to the newsletter. It'll be just for you. So it'll be probably cheesier, a little easier, a little more just type it in and send it off with a link. Then the more sophisticated, it's pretty. I mean, the newsletter, we want it to be pretty and want to get you to open it sometimes. The video newsletter is actually more popular now and just bypassed than the actual written column. We're trying to do more video pieces. So we'll give you snippets of the class. We'll do a plant feature or something I see out in the yard. I'll just kind of, in my own gardens, I'll quickly videotape it and send that off. And some of them are only 10 seconds, some are 90 seconds, and some are the actual class. So we're getting more open rate on that. People are watching that. It's not going viral yet, but it's becoming, I'm surprised people are watching more than they're reading, at least with our customer base. But this is gardeners. This is like us. We're readers. But anyway, I think it's easy is what it is.
The distribution on that now is gone from Monday to Thursday.
Oh, thank you, Ken. That's good. So Ken was saying that we're trying something new. We're playing with it. We're trying to copy folks that are smarter than us. They're saying it's working. So on Mondays, we're sending out a featured sale. Something that's looks good now, and we can compete with the Depots and Lowe's. I want some of their business. So that's kind of what we're after. And then on Thursdays, it's the video newsletter. It's garden content information just for locals that is in video form. And then on Saturdays, the actual garden column that is sent to newspapers. So that's what the newspapers pick up, only it's from my desktop to yours. It hasn't been, their editors have not screwed it up yet. is what happens sometimes.
And then on Sunday,
Oh, on Sunday,
there's a
what?
questionable post,
Oh,
which is where people that have asked Ken or Lisa
Oh.
questions,
Q&A.
that's sent out. That's really only distributed on the blog
Right.
and on Facebook.
Gotcha.
That doesn't go out in an email.
Right. We don't want to overwhelm your mailbox. So Ken was saying that just for the folks in the video, on Sundays we send out on our website, we've got a blog. You can subscribe to it if you want, or our Facebook post, you can subscribe to that if you want. But we have, what are your neighbors talking about? Sometimes you don't know the questions to ask, but if you can hear other gardeners and what they're saying, you can go, oh yeah, let me go look for that. It helps you be on the radar so you know what to look for. Sometimes you just don't even know what to look for. So right now it's bark beetles are getting into pine trees. So you've seen sap come out of the bark. If you don't know what to look for, if you haven't been out to that part of the gardens, you won't know that they killed off your pine tree until next summer when it gets warm. All of a sudden it'll just collapse. So it's something to kind of watch. We're trying to get some of those kinds of things out there. Some other flowers, plants. Any herb. Animals don't like herbs. We do. You would think they would. I mean, I just love the smell of rosemary, thyme, oregano. They don't bother them. Something about the oils and the scent, and that's why they make these repellents out of these. So rosemaries and mints, and they've got those in this. That's why it smells so good. So I think any herb is okay for you. Again, all bets are off. If the herd decided to bed down in your yard, sometimes the youngster, they just dig things up just because they're having fun. They're frolicking in your yard. I was helping a friend of mine. I went up to his house. We're going down his driveway. Go, God, I've got such problems. Look, things keep disappearing. Things are and I look over the hill. Underneath the oak trees, he's got a herd of javelina sitting there. It's daytime. They're just bedding right there until nighttime when they can come out and go, listen, Ed, you've got a problem. Until they're gone, there's no way for me to help you solve this. They're just bedding. This is their home. So you put your house and your gardens in their home. It's their space, not yours. Until you make it your space, not theirs, there's no way to get around that. So anyway, this is another one. I use this a lot out by the road. I was having a javelina take out and rabbits. It's my two banes in my yard. They were just causing issues out by the mailboxes. It just wasn't fenced. You can't have fences in the front yard in my neighborhood. You can only have it in the back. This is Gaura, G-A-U-R-A. It is a good perennial for here. It's a woody perennial, so it'll actually come back from some of the stems. And so these flowers will float up to about this tall, and they just hover above this nice, dense green foliage. Hummingbirds dearly love them. They're super drought hardy. And so it's a great little plant for here, and then animals don't eat them. But hummingbirds and butterflies love them. That's a winner for me. And I put it right there where the irrigation just barely, I spit on it every once in a while. That's how tough this plant is. Good little native local plant. Surprisingly, mums are surprisingly tough. So they seem to not go after the mums as much. Are the deer eating your mums?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's the only one. That's one, sometimes you're just surrounded. And then they'll favor certain colors. Like javelina love light colored pansies. They go after them. Whites, yellows, apricots. They love apricots. They don't tend to like the reds, the burgundies as much. Purples, they don't like those as much. So they've got their flavors that they like more than others. So kind of watch that one. They can play with that. They don't eat snapdragons, do they?
No.
Everyone should have a snapdragon because they're so pretty. It's a good, cool season flower, so it actually shines now till the end of the year. Then it'll take a little bit of a break. I'll leave the seed heads up. I'll kind of cut off the seed heads just after Valentine's sometime. The foliage will be green. I'll fertilize it. It will come back into bloom by March 1 and just be glorious through Mother's Day. Just absolutely glorious. It has two big bloom cycles to it. But the key seems to be cut off the seed heads and then refertilize, put the all-purpose plant food on it, and it will just come back with a vengeance and be even bolder, bigger next time around. It comes in every color you could think of. Doesn't it look delicious? I mean, if I were a javelina, I would eat that. But they don't. Rabbits don't, they just don't eat it. It's a good plant. This is another one I've had very good luck with. The javelina did not touch this. This is flowering stock. Hey Vincent, what you doing, big man? This is Vincent Price. He's our company mascot. So, hey Vincent, come here. Can you sit? Good. Hey. But there's so many people here, they might have food. I love, sit. Hey. Sit. You're embarrassing me. Good, shake hands. Good boy. Right there we go. Can you smell that? This is very, very fragrant. Yeah, go ahead. You're just going to embarrass me. This is flowering stock. It's a nice cool season plant. You plant it mainly in the fall and in the early spring, like March, when it's still snowy out. This plant loves that. But it just, in my containers, I love to plant this in containers because it brings it up and we can actually enjoy the aroma a little better. Here, just take that stock, S-T-O-C-K, just flowering stock. Pass around and smell it, it's just wonderful. It's a wonderful fragrance. It has kind of a lilac-y kind of fragrance, only a much longer bloom cycle than a lilac ever dreamed of blooming. Nandina. Animals don't eat Nandina. It's another one that looks delicious.
They pruned it.
They'll come in and this is one the deer will eat before they realize, oh yeah, I don't like Nandina. They move on, and so they'll tend to nip it. Luckily, it's a strong grower. Fertilize it, it'll come back out of it. There's a lot of varieties of Nandina too. You folks from California are used to that domestica. It's quite tall. That's the name heavenly bamboo, or that's the false name. Nandina is the actual botanical name. It kind of has a look of a bamboo, but it's not truly a bamboo. Then they make short varieties. They make ground covers, Herbert dwarf. They make kind of a little moundy size, Gulf Stream. They've got Tuscany red. We've got a lot of different flavors. And now we're coming out with different colors. So this one, when it's in full sun, will have kind of a red hue to it. So you'll see in your neighborhoods, you'll be walking by, the ones in full sun will have a definite, they're starting to turn red now. If they're in more shade, they'll stay kind of green. So it depends on the sunlight. This is dianthus, or pinks, or daisies. They're all related to each other. Great little plants. So we plant a lot of these in javelina areas because there's a nice evergreen perennial that as it keeps its foliage, but it blooms. It has a lot of bloom cycles. So out of mine, I had a little pot. I had this big plant in a pot about this big, tiny little thing. But it's so drought hardy that I could spit on it every once in a while, fertilize it every once in a while, and it probably had 300 blooms on this thing. It was crazy. Just always putting up blooms. It was magnificent. Now it's just kind of green. It's kind of gone into its winter mode. Now it's just a deadhead. Also a secret with this one, when this flower is done, just pinch it off and you'll set another flower, especially in spring. It'll just keep it blooming. If you don't do that, it'll tend to go to seed a little bit. Great little evergreen plant. I think I got everything. The last question, then we'll go across the street and we'll actually go through some gardens. These are brand new gardens. Literally, we were just planting the vine gardens like a few days ago. This is not even rooted out yet. So there's high activity. Javelina wouldn't surprise me if they went through last night and pulled a couple things out just for fun, just to see. They didn't eat it, they just pull it out just to see if they might like it. So these are two properties I bought this spring. They came up for sale. It just made sense for the garden center to buy them. This house here, we've not revamped yet. We're about to get into this now. So over the winter, that's my winter project. This is the old fireman's house, or the conductors. The train used to come up right up Iron Springs Road in the 1900s, up through I think the 1950s, maybe 40, somewhere in there, mid-century. And this is where the train guys would stop and they'd take on coal and water and that kind of stuff. And this is the property where they would stop and change that at. So this used to be located right over here next to this cottonwood, kind of just underneath to the right. We still run into the old debris pile, trash pile. You get old bottles that need corks, or classic blue. You never know what you're going to hit. It's kind of a pain. Every time you dig a hole, there's like water comes through it, because the water table's very high here, and then we get junk coming out. But they moved the house over here, I think in 1944, and just got it out of the way. And then it's been there as a rental for many, many years. It's double-walled brick. The walls are this thick. It's amazing, old structure. So anyway, I don't know what to do. I want to keep it historic, but modify it a little bit. And stuff. Here, we started with this. We're trying to put in more display gardens so people can see what a mature size, and that we can test things out. We're always getting new plants from growers.
I want to try them out before I don't want you to be the test victim. I want me to try it first, see if it works, and see how it does. And then we go, this is a winner. Plant this in your yard. It'll be a winner for you too. That's our goal here. Here we knew we had javelina. We know we have deer and a little bit of rabbits, but javelina and deer are the two nemesis back here. So we're trying to put in plants that they won't bother with. And I kind of knew what they were. Then we're pushing the limits to test it. It's not just one or two, it's a large herd, and they're in every single night. So we know these have proven themselves so far. This particular one has been in bloom until the cold. So the cold kind of had it stop. This week it stopped blooming. This is autumn sage, or Salvia gregii. It's one with the red flowers. All over it gets this big. This is a mature one. We hardly water it or care for it. We fertilize it, but then it just comes back with these red flowers, and hummingbirds have been all over this. Even now they come and check it just to make sure, see if it's got flowers. Hummingbirds dearly, dearly love it. Again, salvia is sage. Anytime you hear the word salvia or sage in the word, you know you got a winner, because it's herbal. If you touch the foliage, it actually has a very sagey scent to it, and that's what they don't like. Okay, that's a good one. I've had very, very good luck in my own house with carpet roses. Now deer love hybrid teas, like that long stem rose. It's about to open and deer go, for me, and they eat it. They do not like the smaller flowers or the low growing flowers. Javelina don't like them either. So no matter whether it's pink, white, apple blossom, whatever the color, they don't seem to, they leave them alone. So the ground cover, I put a ground cover rose here. I know it doesn't look like much because it's going into winter, it's out of bloom, but next spring it's going to come out in the month of March, April, depending on the weather, and just start blooming. And it won't stop blooming until next November when it goes into cold again. And it will stay low, only about this tall, and kind of spread out. I'll kind of keep it groomed, so I'll have something blooming as you come to the front door. It always looks good. So I put several of them right here, but they don't eat the carpet roses or your old-fashioned shrub roses. I've had just as good luck with the knockouts, the Rio Osos. There's several series of old-fashioned roses. They're on their own rootstock. They don't like them, but they love hybrid teas. They love the floribundas. They like climbings. So kind of watch that one. Is there a question?
How big does the autumn sage get?
This is fully mature. It's been here forever. I kind of put the landscape around this autumn sage, so this is fully mature. If it's really healthy and you've got super green thumbs, which is probably most of you, you might get this much out of it instead of this much. Okay, but about knee high is pretty good. Indian hawthorn, or Raphaeoliptus is the Latin name. Indian hawthorn is a nice evergreen. I wanted some evergreen in here. It's a spring bloomer, puts on a pink flower that's very, very fragrant, so I want to have some fragrance and color. As you come to the front, I want something to greet you. This is a garden, not just a landscape. I want it to feel like a garden. So this, as it matures, again, it's young. It'll be about this big, about this kind of knee high, similar to the sage. Not overgrow or overgrow its welcome or its bounds, but good choice. This one we showed you at the up at the table. This is dianthus. It's a good plant. You'll see this sprinkled out throughout. But come next spring, this will start pushing those little pink flowers and have a high bloom cycle. But in the interim, it's got this nice evergreen little moundy. I'm hoping this will fill in to be a nice low-growing blue perennial ground cover is what I want. You can tell they liked this one. This is, they pulled this out of the ground about every night for a week. This is ice plant. Don't plant that one.
I actually tried that the first year.
I wanted it. A friend gave it to me. It's a new variety. It's got red flowers, a spectacular color. I thought this would be the perfect space in full sun, but I thought the javelina would go after it, and then they did. So, okay, it's not a good test. I'll put it at home. I'll get another one. Society garlics. Again, they're dying back to the roots at this point, but they have these nice blue flowers that hover. Again, they don't like herbs, and onions, garlics are all related. They aren't going to eat those. Cotoneaster or cotton Easter. This is a low growing. I think this is Tom Thumb, but they don't like any cotoneaster. The big red clusterberry variety, big shrub variety, they do not eat that. They will eat red tip photinia though. So watch that one. So if you've got a lot of pressure, kind of swap out the red tip photinia and put in the red clusterberry cotoneaster, you have better luck in the long run. Otherwise, you'll be coming in, I'll make a fortune off of you, buying repellents, always spraying it, trying to keep them from eating that, nibbling on that tender new foliage of spring they'll go after it.
What was that one called again?
This is
This is
cotoneaster.
the one before it?
Oh, this is society garlic.
Garlic, okay.
Yep, society garlic. Grasses. It's surprising they don't eat grass. There's a lot of native grasses, like deer grass, just grows wild. Miscanthus is what this is. Grows wild. So I knew they wouldn't eat this, but I wanted something. I wanted a showpiece. And so I'll leave this foliage. It's starting to turn color. It was a nice blue color. It's been in bloom for a couple months. Planted it here just as a showpiece. I'll wait until the first couple snows, usually in January, starts to make this thing lay down, and then I'll whack it off with the ground. Fertilize it, it'll come back and just be fresh. But just, you would think they would eat this, but they don't.
What is it?
Pampas, this is miscanthus, or deer grass, or there's quite a few that kind of look like this.
Okay.
I don't care for pampas grass. You saw that in the front landscape. That's the great big grass. It grows the size of this building. Some of them, the really big ones, I think it's too much. I don't want that kind of maintenance. Not many people have the space to grow a pampas grass. So it's a commercial kind of plant. So out there on the roadway, it's perfect. It's great, big, showy. Look, we're gardeners. But I wouldn't want to introduce it in my front yard myself, just because it's too big. If you got a big property, the back corner, highlighting a pond, back privacy, it's a good place for that. Those you also whack back to about this tall. So in the spring, usually in January, I'll host a pruning class. If you want to know how to prune pampas, we'll actually prune one during the class. We'll prune grapes during the class. We'll just kind of go through. If I figure if I'm going to go back and prune everything, I might as well invite friends and show them what I'm doing. That's kind of look for that in January sometime. Going back here, this is Coreopterus, or false spirea is the easier way to spell it. They don't eat this. Now this is covered with blue flowers summer through autumn. It's been blue, blue, blue. You can see the old spent flower heads. Then it goes deciduous. It'll lose its foliage. But animals, it's beautiful, blue foliage, pretty blue flowers. It really is a rock star. So I put it front and center. It'll get up to about this big, so in the middle of the garden. But animals don't like it, but butterflies love it. So it's a good plant for here that animals don't eat. Here, it's not a native-y thing, but it's kind of low water use. This is crepe myrtle, and it has been in bloom. It has been in foliage. Of course, this week has been the change, hasn't it? We went from, what was it, snowing on earlier in the week, and now it has been brutally cold. It's been mid to low 20s at my house all week. So everything's going. They're saying it's autumn. I'm done. I'm going to shed my leaves. That's what they're doing. But I'll keep these seed heads on. This is where the flower was, because I think they're ornamental. They're just pretty. Come next, when I'm starting to prune everything in January, basically, I'll kind of shape it up and clean it up and that kind of stuff. Ivy. I know they don't eat ivy. English ivy, traditional English ivy. Nice evergreen. This is an albatross sitting in the middle of the yard. So I want to cover it, and I'll kind of have it come up to, I'll grow it up to about just above head high to soften up all this hardware. But it'll self-cling and get on here, but by next spring, this ought to be up, just grow up the pole, self-adhering. So, and animals don't eat it. The cactus, those are hedgehogs. They will eat prickly pear. They love prickly pear. I put one in the landscape just to kind of see how long it'll take them to figure out how to get to it, but they don't eat this lower growing stuff. Agave and yuccas. Generally speaking, they aren't going to eat this, so I've got a new variegated variety. We've got several yuccas. Here's a artichoke agave, the century plant basically. That's one that puts on that huge white flower. They've left these both alone, no problem. The only negative with these, if you have gophers, the gophers can eat the roots off. There's a big carrot-like root to it that the gophers will come in and eat. So kind of watch that. If you see that, every once in a while the gophers will get underneath my artichoke agave, and I'll have to go in and bait it and keep them in check. They seem to like it, so kind of watch that. Again, Joshua tree. Actually, no, this is, I think this is a soft leaf yucca, just really old. It was over here, I moved it to here, and now it's going out of bloom. I'll probably cut this off and just encourage it to grow. They don't eat that. This is a good one. I think every yard ought to have some of these. This is Oregon grape. It's an evergreen, or Mahonia is the other name. Puts on real pretty yellow flowers in spring. Drought hardy. This actually is a native to the mountains surrounding us. So it grows wild. You kind of have to keep it in check. It's so wild that you may want to water it for a couple of years and then cut it off of care, or it can keep spreading. Or you just take a shovel to the head, dig it out, don't let it get too wide. But a great little evergreen with a pretty yellow flower in spring. Puts on a berry after that the birds like. It's got all the stuff I want in the landscape. And drought hardy, it's a native. Great plant. Here, this stuff is not pretty, so I wanted to hide it. So what I've got here is I planted a akebia, which is an evergreen vine. So that'll kind of give me the base. And then I'm playing with more and more hops like you brew beer with. It's a pretty vine. It gets quite tall, very strong grower, very fast grower. It is deciduous. So my goal is to have these two things commingle, and then hops has a real pretty decorative flower to it that I think will be pretty with the akebia. If it's not, I'll rip it out and put in probably a clematis is what I'll do. Pretty flowers coming through the akebia. I could have just gone with one plant, but I like companion planting sometimes just to see what happens. That's part of the art of gardening. Just kind of you're playing with it. It may not work, or it may work. It'd be wow factor. And I want to wow people here as we show off the gardens. Every garden needs at least one rosemary. Look, it's still in bloom. Isn't that crazy? This will bloom into December. It'll take a break and be evergreen, then it'll come back into bloom in March. It'll give me some color when everything else is out of color, but it's also giving me a foundational evergreen. It's good. So I've sprinkled evergreen. I've tried to cover all 4 seasons in these particular gardens. Iris, what is the name? This is, I know it's an herb. What is that? This is some sort of herb. We'll move on. Pomegranates. Pomegranate really doesn't go in this garden, but I think they're beautiful with the fruits they put on. Great fall color, beautiful spring and summer bloom, and animals don't eat them. So that I'll put it in and try it. This was growing here. This is a Russian sage. Nothing eats Russian sage. I wish some things would eat Russian sage, but they tend to. This one I'll have to keep in check. It'll want to take over if we're not careful. So I'll whack this way back come this winter, and then I'll fertilize it. It'll just give me good color throughout the year. I think this plant does not get enough play. This is why's my brain going hiccuping? Yeah, not hyssop. Doggone it. Starts with an H. Anyway, we'll move on. Mums. Mums work really well. I had to have a few mums. Give me a bright spot in summer, late summer through fall, and animals. They seem to leave it alone. I'm surprised they've not eaten this. This was a test, but it has performed wonderfully. This is red sedge. Now, I wanted to play off the walkway, give me a different color coming through here, but the red of the sedge, it's actually a red grass. I thought the bunnies and the deer would eat it actually, and they haven't. They left it alone. So this one again is starting to turn that straw color because it is a true perennial. It'll go back to the ground, and I'll leave that there until the snows come in and just beat it up and it starts to lay down. Then I'll go through and whack it off with a weed whacker, lawnmower or something. Now we go to shade gardens. So I've got quite a bit of shade with these trees. This is the south exposure here. This is hard shade basically. And so I went with I started with the heucheras, the coral bells. It's these guys here. I wanted a bright color that would shine in this dark. It's hard to put dark greens in a shaded area because it just blends right in and gets you more dark. You want some bright pops of color. And so I went with foundational, ground cover kind of stuff. I went with the coral bells, heuchera. This one I've had great luck with. This is a Cuba. I know you folks in California should love this. It looks tropical. It looks like a house plant.
Yeah, it does.
But it goes down, it's gone through 2 sub-zero winters for me here in Prescott. It has performed magnificently. I used this underneath a huge majestic juniper. I mean, it's got characters, alligator juniper. And junipers have a way of killing things. They always shed, they're always putting droppings, and they taint the soil. So not very few things will actually grow underneath the juniper. This has done really well. It's been in for about 6 years. It's now about this tall, but it's grown a little bit wider. It's a slow grower, but great at that front entrance of your house where maybe it's the north side, or you got that overhang where it's just always kind of dark. It's a nice bright pop, and it's evergreen. Puts on a flower in spring, but pretty insignificant. Really, you're planting it for the foliage, truly.
The name of it again?
A Cuba. Like Aruba, only a Cuba. Same thing. This is forsythia. I'm not sure if it will grow here. We'll try it and see. But what I really want, I want a bright pop of yellow in spring. When everything else is kind of dreary, this is just going to bloom like crazy. Now, will it elongate next summer and get kind of leggy and lay down? We'll test it and see. Normally, this is a full sun plant. I'm hoping there's enough reflective light here to keep it healthy enough and keep it to bloom. But again, these are test gardens. I'm seeing what the limits are of many of the plants. I'm actually surprised how much shade the sun plants will take, especially in Arizona sun. And I'm starting to play with how much sun will a shade plant take. I'm starting to be surprised how much sun the shade plants will take, except for my hydrangeas. They don't like any. They've got fried. Anyway, butterfly bush. This has been in bloom. Nice evergreen. I think every garden needs at least one butterfly bush. Here I planted a dwarfed butterfly bush. I don't want, some butterflies get huge, it'll take over this whole part of the garden. Here I planted a dwarf one that'll kind of keep its bounds. And then behind you, I'm almost embarrassed to mention it. This is, it's gone deciduous. It's a deciduous native. This is a desert willow. It's a real pretty plant. It puts on a real pretty orchid-shaped flower. It's kind of pink and purple. But I'm hoping it will give me some height because it gets about this big because I want to hide this ugliness. But I knew it'd be deciduous. I want it to be, it's got kind of a woody. Once it gets full enough, I think the character will take on the same color as the platform here. And I got to keep this as part of the, it's where we keep stuff. So I want to hide it though. So anyway, that's kind of what we went with there. This is one, if you've got shade and you've got a place for it, this actually does quite well. It's an Midwest East Coast plant. This is rhododendron. It loves the shade. It needs shade. It can't grow in the sun. But animals do not touch rhodies. They don't like them. They absolutely detest them. So it's been right here. You can see the buds starting to form, but they're the ones that put on that fluorescent color in spring, usually March, April, they're in bloom, and nothing has a flower like rhododendrons. Azaleas try, but rhodies outshine them, I think, in my opinions. I like them. So I put it right here by the patio. Here we got some other stuff, dogwoods. Put 2 varieties of dogwoods, red twigs and a yellow twig dogwood. They don't eat them. Another Acuba, false spirea, or what's the G name? Goshiki holly. There you go. Is a common name for this. So not eating it, it's fine. It's a nice evergreen. Another forsythia, wanted a nice bright pop of yellow. Dusty Miller. Surprisingly, it's pretty, it's evergreen. It gives me something bright here. That it wanted something silvery, kind of compensate for some of the darkness. It's done very well. Animals are not eating this. This is a pepper plant, a test. If this thing goes through winter as strongly as I think it will, I'm going to bring these in strong for you all to plant. It looks like a manzanita in my world. It's got the red bark to it. It's evergreen, but we haven't tested it in this market yet. So I got one to kind of go through and see how it will do. It's a nice evergreen shrub for the shaded areas. I think it's going to perform very, very well for us. Or it will die in midwinter and not come back. One of the two. Well, no, certainly. And javelina, not eating it. Deer not eating it so far. In the back here, so this is an old rundown orchard. It was just beat up, hadn't been cared for in probably a couple decades. And so I pruned up and cleaned some of the fruit trees that were worthy enough. I'm still not sure if this is worthy. I'll see how it does next spring, and then I may actually rip it out of there. There's no love affair with it. But I hate to pull out a tree, but I own a garden center. I'd be glad to replant you if you're not going to perform. So this is a plum tree. We've got a couple apples. I did plant a new pear and a peach and a cherry. I know the animals will go after these somewhat. I may have to protect them. I'm guessing the deer will come in and try to strip the bark off of some of the pear. If they do, what I'll do is I'll wrap it with some bird netting. I've noticed that if you take bird netting and loosely wrap it around where they're eating, the bark areas mainly, they don't like to mess with. They don't like their teeth or their antlers getting caught in the bird netting. You know what I'm talking about? The plastic 1-inch square loose like fabric kind of netting. I've had very good luck at loosely wrapping the bark, staple gunning it into the bark and ripping off the rest. And it's just sitting there floating. It's not tight. It's sitting there floating, and if I leave it floating, they don't bother it. So I've had very good luck with elk and with deer in that respect, keeping them off the bark. But you know, deer will come in sometimes just peel the bark off your aspens, they like fruit trees. So if they have that, come talk to us, we'll show you how to do that. If left unchecked, they'll pull all the bark off, girdle the tree. The tree will come out in spring. You go, oh, I made it. They didn't kill it. As soon as the first warm day, it'll flush out and drop all its foliage and die like that. Because it's living off the sugars it had in the structure, but it doesn't have enough root source to keep it going, and so it dies. I didn't want to put rock down, not with all the pine trees, the bigger tree. It'd just be a mess. So I wanted to use something natural. I was going to put bark over the whole thing. I thought, well, it's not enough. It's a garden. It's a test garden. So I planted a thyme lawn. Again, herbs. Animals don't eat herbs. I knew if I put a lawn in here, they would actually, first of all, I'd have to commit to mowing. I don't want to do that. And then it'd be high water. Didn't want that. And then the animals will go after. They'll nibble, and the rabbits will be into it. It'll be a mess. But this is creeping thyme. So they don't go after thyme. It'll stay real low. It's mostly evergreen. It'll give me a bloom in the summer, and I only mow it once a year. Okay, that works for me. That's a great lawn to go with, and it's low water. So it takes a third of the water, maybe less than that, of let's say a traditional fescue, which is our best performing local lower use, lower water type of actual grass lawn. And then we go up from there to ryegrass and bluegrass that are a mess. I don't want to commit to that much work. I don't want to mow this every week. And so this will start to fill out. So we had little plugs. It's now already grown double. So that side of the lawn where it's more sunny, it's already quadrupled in size. By next summer, this will fill out and be mostly green. By the end of next year, this will be a solid lawn. So we just plugged it literally a month ago. So it's just now starting to fill in. That's pretty much it. I've got some junipers over there. Actually, we could maybe walk that way. I'll show you a couple brand new plants. Should I go over the vines?
Or just fence too.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't we start here and work that way?
Yeah.
So some vines. This was literally just planted days ago. Not truly a test, but some things I know they aren't going to eat. I just know because I've seen them in other neighborhoods. Honeysuckle. This first one right here. Honeysuckle, good plant for here. Drought hardy, tough, evergreen. Animals don't eat it. It's a winner. If you need to soften up a big rock face, secure a hillside for erosion, honeysuckle is a great choice. I'm going to put a trellis up here of some sort by next spring. So we'll climb up. I just want to hide this big trailer. It's an eyesore. So we painted it the same color as a building, but that, it's not covering. Vines are going to make it disappear. Here, I went evergreen, the deciduous. I tried to sprinkle the evergreens in with the deciduous ones. So that's evergreen. This is a trumpet vine. Great big red flowers. Very aggressive grower. I mean, this thing will be at the top of this next year. Great big flowers, attracts hummingbirds, but it's deciduous, so it's going to lose its leaves, obviously. What I did is I sprinkled clematis throughout the whole thing. Clematis have those big flowers to them, but they're kind of wimpy by themselves, but they intermingle with other vines and other trees, and they pop through their flowers. I'm hoping, it's kind of an artistic garden experiment, but I'm hoping that this is really going to come out and look really nice in a year or two. But clematis of different colors. This is Akebia. We showed that to you over here. Again, evergreen. A clematis. I put different varieties. This is Virginia creeper. Yep, Virginia creeper, a native. Grows wild here. We'll have this trained up, and it's got that famous red color in fall. But drought hardy animals don't eat. They don't mess with Virginia creeper. Clematis. Another honeysuckle, a different color. So again, give me something interest. Clematis, and then ivy. Ivy loves the shade. This is going to be a hard place to grow things. So ivy's going to fill up this entire area. It's my guess within a couple of years. It'll just be solid ivy every place. And then lastly, Boston ivy. And then I ran out of variety, so I'll plant something else down there as I put a silver lace vine or something down there. Okay.